there was another major RPG that came out in the Super Nintendo era that I suppose you could say a number of people compare Chrono Trigger to as an alternative or a competitor. Final Fantasy VI.
Couldn't even really call it a competitor since it's from the same company.
Yeah, it's hard to... Square Enix just kind of had its way with JRPGs at the time. I feel kind of sad that they don't make, like, JRPGs quite like they used to. This was good stuff.
The trend's starting to go a little more back to action-y. We'll probably cycle back to turn-based eventually. But, you know, they're still here and there. Anyway, Final Fantasy VI.
It's a video game.
Guess what? I've never played this before, so I get to play this. It's funny how it's almost like it was planned out that you played Chrono Trigger, and you've barely played it, and I play Final Fantasy VI, and I barely played it, and the opposite has a better opinion of the other. Well, ish, in comparison. It's like saying they both take first place, who just takes the firstiest of first places kind of things.
Really, yeah. And that's where, as you said, I wasn't very familiar with Chrono Trigger. I had played it as a kid, but boy, I didn't remember anything about it. And I played it in that transient period where I'm hardly going to remember anything and just kind of sped through games.
Full disclosure, I like Dragon Quest. Boy, did I use a lot of Game Genie cheats that were just basically, your character has infinite health, and just went through the games.
When I was playing through a lot of Super Nintendo games as a kid, and even PlayStation games.
No, I specifically remember Final Fantasy VII. You were like, Game Shark this bitch.
Like, I wouldn't even attempt a game. Legit. First thing I'd look for is, where's that quick level up code?
How many times
Boy, Sephiroth hecked me over in that one!
How many times I would refuse to play Doom if I didn't have the God mode on, just because it was like, this is too scary for me. Anyway.
Yeah, so, Final Fantasy VI, on the other hand, I have played, and I remember much more in-depthly. It has still been quite a long time, and I don't remember a lot. But I paid a lot more attention to the Final Fantasy games, especially, like, 6 onwards. So that was a little more my jam, and you haven't played as much.
I definitely was into 1 and 4, because 4 was originally 2. This was originally 3, just to get that, you know, Doki Doki Panic crap out of the way. I still liked it, but it was just... It started to go away from, like, the medieval knight kind of stuff.
Yeah.
By the time it hit 6, it's like... I hate to be blunt about it like this, but I think Final Fantasy 6 into 7 is kind of where Final Fantasy hit its niche really well. Because I hate to disregard the first 5 games, especially.
Yeah.
Because it's like, 1 through 3, they're pretty good games. It's like, 1 is like, yeah, it's a D&D session stretched out into a game. 2 is, ooh, we like Star Wars. Let's fit that into this game. But let's do something weird with it, too. Which it still works in its own quirky way, but it's like, you know, it's one of those looking back kind of things. 3, it's a surprisingly good game. Until the Crystal Tower. Which, unfortunately, you can't just blow through the mechanics anymore. You have to do it at level. God, even at level now, we just blow through all the mechanics. I don't think I've ever done Cilia with the lightning things going on. Then I played 4, and I was like, wow, games can do this? And then we never got 5 over here until the PlayStation. And then I just didn't get into 6, because I was like, but it's like guns and all that stuff. That's not Final Fantasy. And then 7 came out, and it was like, but that's Final Fantasy, basically, until we call back to it later.
Yeah, Final Fantasy, I was actually given by a friend in 5th grade the player's guide to this game. I didn't even have the game. I don't know if he had the game. I don't know where he got the player's guide. He was just like, hey, this is cool. Do you want this? And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm flipping through it going, yeah, this is pretty alright.
Yeah, that's a 5th grader, alright. It's like, you want this thing that costs money?
And I think I agree that this is kind of where I feel like Final Fantasy hit its stride, because
it's basically this in 7. Like 7 was basically, oh, it's international now.
yeah, because prior to this, Final Fantasy was largely that kind of medieval adventure, direct competitor to Dragon Quest in that regard. Whereas 6 is where they start really going into that, like, Magitech punk feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, just like, everything's just kind of dirty and has that punk feel to it, but it's Magitech. There's magic involved, but it has technology in it now. Usually magic-based. Like, if they have guns, oftentimes it's some kind of weird magic gun or something. It's not just like, yeah, we sure do have an AK.
It's like a gun, but it also summons a god out of it, too, for some reason.
Yeah, or something like that.
God forbid you mix 2 bullets together and you make a summon out of it.
3.
Oh, was it 3?
It was 3.
Oh, because he had to do, like, mix and match colors.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't want to dwell too long from the title screen for you guys anyway, so...
Yeah, so,
I know, it's kind of funny looking back at it now, going like, oh, I was just more into Dragon Quest, and I was in Final Fantasy and all that stuff, and now I'm back here going like, people, it's like, you have, like, Square Enix go like, oh, our Dragon Quest game is better than our Final Fantasy game, and I come up here and go like, oh boy, 2 cakes!
And, again, funny, because you got me to play through a Dragon Quest game, or 3, and at this point, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about where Final Fantasy is going, but boy, this Dragon Quest is alright.
Yes, oh boy, 2 cakes.
Yeah, oh boy, 2 cakes. So anyway, I'll be doing my best to guide Ogre along as
Yeah. You'll guide me here and there, but try to let me explore. If it's gonna be a...
Yeah, I'm not gonna just sit back and go, hey...
Yeah, if it's gonna be one of those, like, oh, if you don't get this now, it's lost forever kind of... Speak up.
Yeah.
Don't let me miss out on that. But if it's...
And I'll do what I can, because I remember hardly anything.
Yeah,
anyway.
But if it's gonna be one of those, like, oh, you know, he gets to play this for the first time, I'm not gonna take that from him.
Yeah. Let you have your fun.
Excuse me. Also, by the way, that title screen sounded familiar. It's almost like I've kicked that guy's ass before in another dimension. I'm pretty sure that's not related or anything, yeah. Anyway, let's get this show on the road.
New game.
The ancient war of the Magi. When its flames at last receded, only the charred husk of a world remained. Even the power of magic was lost. In the 1,000 years that followed, iron, gunpowder, and steam engines took the place of magic, and life slowly returned to the barren land. Don't know why I thought to myself, but enough about Nebraska. Yet there now stands one who would reawaken magic of ages past, and use its dread power as a means by which to conquer all the world.
Hey,
Nor the fact that guy walked out as I said that. That's not in foreshadowing or anything.
Yeah, hey, who was that guy, though? Are you sure that wasn't important?
No, that's not important.
Okay.
Could anyone truly be foolish enough to repeat that mistake? Do you need a list? I could go from Washington, D.C. and work our way down to, like, next-door neighbors.
I know we have all these documents saying this is a horrible idea, but, I think it sounds good.
Boop. Already pressed the button, Steve.
Stompy. Wedge.
It's like my
And
Star
Biggs.
Wars. I wonder if Final Fantasy people like Star Wars. 'Cause they sure do a lot of Star Wars. One day I'm gonna look up why it's called a wild goose chase, because it's like, because like the implication of wild goose chase is that it, like, you find nothing. It's like, did you expect not to find wild geese?
I mean, it may be that, like, how I imagine it is a wild goose is just this little ball of chaos that's really hard to catch. So you just spend like 20 minutes chasing it around, and at the end you just go, God dang it, I can't catch this stupid goose.
Well, I imagine the idea is
and then it laughs at you.
I imagine the idea is the goose is gone by the time you get to where you thought it was, so...
I just imagine that, like, anybody in that goose game trying to catch that goose. The Untitled Goose Game. Yeah. So actually starting out with a somewhat emotional opening.
It's actually really beautiful. I really like it.
It's nice. I feel like it goes on just a little too long, but I like it.
It does, but it's also set in a nice mood. I also have to point out the fact that the mechs from behind look nothing like they actually do.
Yeah.
And it always bugged me.
As
like, none of it lines up. Like, the shoulders don't, the backpack doesn't, the legs have no indication they're the same. They're more, like, straight up than they are like the hunched-over messes the Magitech armor is we know.
Yeah. Especially given, like, how the things were drawn in the official art. Which
I mean, I
think was neat that 14 went back.
I literally have that Magitech mount.
Yeah, so. Which I think is neat because 14 went back and designed it like the artwork instead of just like a mech.
Yeah, that was the
warrior.
one she had on the title screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. The old Maggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To point out, while we have a moment, we are playing this on...
It's the Pixel Remaster.
Yeah, on Steam. This is the Pixel Remaster.
I'm shocked they still haven't announced these for systems.
Yeah.
I would totally double dip on some of these.
Yeah, and there are... It's effectively the same game as you would play on the Super Nintendo. I do not really understand why they needed to change and update the pixel art, given it's the same style and the same resolution. It's just very slightly stylistically, like, colored different. I don't really understand it. But on the upside, you get, like, nice widescreen, full effects, and a nice experience out of it.
Also, this is the translated script from the GBA version, so...
Yeah, so better translation.
Yeah, which some games, 7, could benefit from.
Yeah. Another point to mention is, you may recall in Final Fantasy I, when we did that one, I had changed out the font.
I'd also like to point out, their helmets are ridiculous.
They kind of are, yeah.
Like, not even like, oh, it's just
full
like...
hide in the eyes.
No, it's not that. It's like, I get that.
On the side.
It's I get it. It's supposed to be like a German soldier kind of thing. It's like, did you get the comparison we're making already? And it's
I like the hair kind of blowing off to the side.
It's not that. It's the fact they have little, like, stylistic vampire wing kind of, bat wing kind of things coming out of their head. It's like, did you just not want to throw the swastika on there just to make it more obvious? Or was it just one of those, like, nah, they'll get it too fast enough as is. Anyway, yeah, you didn't do the text thing.
For one, I had installed a text modification, which didn't actually implement new text. It's mostly that if you would pause the game again.
Oh. Well,
tough. We're in armor. A dog. That's a rockin' dog too. So I don't remember exactly at what point in Final Fantasy the active time battle gauge was introduced. Man roasted that dog.
Well, I mean, you know Nazis.
Yeah.
My dog.
Heck with us. Just as far as the font is concerned, if you can see the numbers on the screen, the time, steps, money in the corner, as well as your HP and everything.
Yeah, you could tell they're like from the original.
That font is actually the exact same font as what is used for all text. The text font is just narrow.
I don't.
And both fonts are fully installed in the game.
I have to assume it's something, because this is also on smartphones.
Yeah,
so
and
smart
I think
devices.
that may be it.
And I think that might be it, because it might be something like on the smartphone screens. If you space it out like the proper text would be, it'd probably just be weird.
I don't know. So the modification that I did for Final Fantasy I was very simply swapping out the narrow text for the wide text, both of which are fully installed in the game.
Come on, let me in.
I would have done it for this one, but I didn't have time.
I prefer you didn't.
I mean, if you don't want to, then I won't.
I know some people would be like, we want it like that. It's like, no, I'm good with it.
Honestly, I find that hard to read. I think it looks bad and it's hard to read.
I find it pretty good to read.
guards, eh?
Oh, she has magic.
So this is... You're starting out in Magitech armor. This is kind of the nice power trip you get at the start of the game. You're not really expected to know anything about any of the stuff that you're doing, only that it's really powerful. Okay, that did 6 damage. 6 damage is actually nothing to sneeze at.
Banish that dog to another dimension.
Send him to the Shadow Realm. They don't look like guards to me. I mean, I guess if this is a more run-down town, maybe that's the best they got.
Hey, they're finally on our level.
Heck yeah.
Oh, can't go that way. A lot of them came from up here. Can't go that way. Nope.
Yeah, I don't think there's actually a lot of exploration you can do in this area.
Let me in. I want to buy potions. How much for potions? Oh, remember back attacks? Now you can be surrounded.
Oh boy.
You guys don't know back attacks. We didn't go through 3 or 4 yet.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things this game did was change the tone and theming of Final Fantasies, but mechanically, I forget what all they added. Like, I would be willing to believe that they could shotgun. I would be willing to believe that the game added the active time battle gauge, but I would also be willing to believe.
What, 6? No, 4 was the one.
4 did?
4 was the first one.
Okay. And active time battle is just the gauge that slowly fills, that makes the game, combat-wise, function kind of like Chrono Trigger did, where you have to wait for the gauge to fill in order to get your turn, and I believe your speed stat affects how fast your gauge fills.
Probably.
That's not a dog.
I mean, I'm more confused why they showed up on screen as, like, people.
I mean, there were people in back. It was some weird animal thing in front.
We have to heal this person who's in charge.
Yeah, Biggs is,
No. Whoever this girl is.
Oh, question mark?
Yeah, question mark.
Oof.
Yeah, she's kind of... yeah, they don't technically have abilities.
Oh, you do. Cool. Oh, that was like most of your MP.
Do they have the Cura thing? Oh, they do. I probably would run through the same amount. Don't crunch the numbers. I will be disappointed either way. What's their stats like? Not much of that. It's pretty strong.
I mean, they are soldiers.
Yeah. I gotta remember, I technically have the diagonal movement. You thought they would have moved this thing if they knew the Empire was going to show up.
Yeah, maybe they can't.
Probably. What is this?
Save point?
Strange light fills the air. Do you want to save?
Do you want to learn about save points?
At save points, you can use tents and sleeping bags and also save the game. And yeah.
Same thing as Chrono Trigger.
Stop sending me tells. I don't want to buy your gill.
That just made me think that we were going back to, Ooh, random battles. Oh, that is a rat.
This was still... Who am I thinking of? Oh. I know Nomura. Okay.
Okay,
well,
poison heals him.
still poison him. Amano was still doing the character artwork for a lot of things in here. The guy does all the title screens.
Yeah.
And
that's good stuff. I was so disappointed when everything just stopped looking as nasty.
Well, it was 5 on some things, and then 6, I believe, was 5 and 6 was Tetsuya Nomura's starting to show up, and then 7 and 8. Especially 8 was when he took over most. No, 7 was when he took over, and 8 was when, he was basically the monster designer for a while.
I love the design of the enemies.
Have you seen
in these early games?
This is old by now, but have you seen the stuff from Sakaguchi about how he loves seeing Amano's artwork translated into 3D in 14?
No.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was funny because the goblins on the beaches near Nordrand are based off Final Fantasy I's goblins, and they just took the artwork of Amano's and just went and now it's in 3D, and he was so flabbergasted by it. He was like, I can't believe I'm actually fighting Amano's artwork in this game. Also got to keep in mind, Sakaguchi was like, I think I'm done with games. And then he played 14, and he was like, I think I'll keep doing games from now on.
Heck do you come from?
Ymir. The giant of Norse mythology? Oh, it's just a slug.
Yeah. So this slug is actually nothing to sneeze at. It's a proper boss fight.
I can tell by the music. But I think I've killed a train too before? I hope that's not foreshadowing.
A lightning whelk.
Yeah, well, I think a whelk's an actual slug kind of thing. Technically, this is a snail because it has a shell. That's the difference between slugs and snails. It absorbs lightning, you say? Thunderbeam. Thunderbeam. Why is it not killing?
Yeah, he pretty much explains the mechanic. Don't attack the shell. I think he can hide in his shell, but just don't attack the shell. If you do, he counterattacks with an attack that will pretty much one-shot a character.
Don't tempt me. Why was the character there?
So slime, I think, slows you down.
Yeah, I can see. Gwarg.
Yeah.
I have to attack
and then
the
just
shell
kind
now.
of chill for now. Take your time to heal, maybe.
You know, I swear, I think the last time I fought something like this, it was a pirate had bought one of these things. It's been ages. You don't remember that guy.
It's been a while.
Turned out he was the long-lost son of a famous family in some far-off land. But he was like, don't tell anybody. Oh, well.
Uh-oh.
Well, the attack went through beforehand, so...
Yeah. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. That still did a lot of damage, all things considered.
I think I should use Bioblaster since it hit everything on the field. Oh, what's this Magic Tech missile? Does it hit everything? It only hits one. Cool. Why does she get the cool stuff? Okay, I should have been using the missile.
Yeah, because she's your sweeper. So this thing has 1,600 HP.
And it's dead.
And it's dead. Suggests hitting it with missiles and fire beam.
Yeah, I threw the missile at the last moment. I got nothing from that. Okay, I got a high potion and ether, but I got no experience from it.
Well, more importantly, you got access to the esper, which is why we're here.
Was that the mines?
Yeah, I think we're in the mines now.
No, I was gonna say, was that it for the mines?
Oh. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good lord. Give me the creeps. Let's shoot it a bunch with fire.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like this music.
Biggs and Wedge both melted like the Nazis at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Spoilers, but, I mean, did you think the Nazis were going to get out good in the Raiders of the Lost Ark? The fact they got melted was too good for them.
Well, he's just gone.
I think they're legitimately dead throughout the rest of this.
Yeah, I don't think we see him anymore.